Active Investor here, bringing you another independent analysis. This time we're taking another look at ticker symbol MGT, Management Capital Investments, also known as McAfee Global Technologies. The chart we're looking at today is once again a 5-minute chart. I'm just focusing on that price action that happened today, not even looking at the pre-market or the after hours. I'm doing this analysis right now. It's 1:06 p.m. I'm here on the West Coast, so the market just closed, so we don't have any after hours except that one little candle to take a look at. But I didn't really want to wait to see what happened the next few hours during the after hours market. I want to make an analysis on the price movement today because we had such a huge change of direction. So all of us who've been watching MGT for a while, we all knew that there would be selling off eventually. Even if you were the ultimate bull, you knew that there would be some selling off eventually. Once a stock is up such an extent, it was at 30 cents and it almost reached $6, which would be a 2,000% increase in a little over a week. So that's just absolutely insane. So we did see that selling off today. You can see it all occurred right about here. So we saw the selling off, and we also saw where we consolidated. So we can get a lot of good information based off that data. So right off the bat, let's just kind of look up here. We opened, we had our high of the day right there on the first candle of the 5-minute chart at 558. It was a fairly volatile candle. It had its low at $4.80, high at 558. So a very wide trading range on this one single candle here. After that, we did fall off a little bit before trying to get back up and make a new high of the day, but it just didn't really work out. After that, we just kind of fell down and consolidated at the $5.15 support, but this candle just brought everything down. Right after that, it was just like a staircase, just down, 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 and down. So we finally had good support down here at the $2.40 level. That's where we bounced back up, and we went over to this pivot point. So let me just mention that we have 3 pivot points to look at from today's chart. We have $3, $3.40, and $5.15. And just remember that this data, all these pivot points are specifically very intraday pivot points. This is looking at only the data from today, not the past prior days. So sure, there's other pivot points to look at as well, but I'm just going to keep it simple. This is the pivot points that we have today and probably going forward as well, depending on what happens after hours. So we pushed back up, turned $3.40 into support a little bit, almost touched it here. It was support here for a little bit. We had a little bit of resistance here at first, so it also became more resistance here. Support and resistance can switch, vice versa. And then $3 became support for a little bit here, resistance, support, and then resistance. Then we actually had our low of the day near the close, right about $2.20. And we closed up here at $2.60. So 220 to 260, I'm just going to throw it out there. That's a pretty nice swing that some people got in the day if they sold. If you got at 220 and you ended up selling around 260 in that like 30-minute time span, I want to give you guys a props. That's very well played there. I don't think a lot of people did get that play, but for those that did, that was a very nice, quick, like over 10% gain right there. So good job. So we have those 3 main areas: $5.15, $3.40, and $3. Now on the 5-minute chart, all our moving averages are looking terrible. We have the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50, the 20, and the 10. All moving averages in the bearish pattern on the 5-minute chart. But I would like to mention that on the longer time frames, like the 1 hour, the moving averages are not really that ugly. On the 1 hour chart, for example, our moving averages are actually still in the perfect bullish pattern, but the 10-day moving average just began crossing below the 20-day moving average on the 1 hour frame. So on an intraday level, yeah, the moving averages look terrible, but overall, the trend is still up. Just remember, yes, we had a huge selling off today, but this stock was trading at 30 cents 2 weeks ago, and it's at $2.60 right now. It's still up a lot. The overall trend is still up. The intraday trend is down, obviously, for today, but the overall trend is still up. We still have a lot of areas to cover before the overall trend is down. So we're still up a lot on MGT. We just need to get back to $3. So ideally what would happen after hours is we break up to $3, turn into support. By doing that, we will be crossing above the 10 and 20-day moving averages, and hopefully these 10 and 20-day moving averages can start legging up above the 50-day. We want to see the 50-day get lower. We want to see the 100 and the 200-day moving averages also go lower. But just keep in mind that even if this does run after hours, we might see selling off like we did here today during the market hours. So that's exactly what happened today on MGT. It had a great after hours, a great pre-market, but within an hour of open, we had a major selling off. So even if this thing is running tomorrow or today after hours in pre-market, just be really careful playing this tomorrow. With that said, the areas that I'm looking for is a break above $3 or a break above $3.40. If we break above $3.40 pre-market or after hours, it's going to be tough to find an entry. If we stay around this range when the market opens tomorrow, we have a very high chance of seeing a gap up to 515. Based on today's data, we don't really have any support or resistance in this entire area between 515 and 340. So if we can get an entrance around $3.40 that we think looks good, we have a great gap up potential to get back up to 515. And that's going to be a really nice gain. So that's what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow. Like I said, if this thing spikes up big time pre-market and after hours and it starts pushing up to 515 before the market even opens, then honestly this advice is kind of thrown out the window because we're going to be so far above 340. So ideally we get an entrance around 340, we get a stop maybe around 320, and we ride it up to 515 on that gap up play and exit around here. Now, of course, if you're going long, you're more than welcome to hold, but I would be more than happy selling around $5 from $3.40. That's a really nice gain. So let's take a look at our relative strength index down here at the bottom. I'm going to mark our oversold points. So you can see each oversold point was a lower low. So that's really bearish. We don't want to see that. So even after this initial drop, we were still having lower lows. You know, we ran back up a little bit, but it wasn't quite good enough. We had lower lows here, lower lows here, lower lows here. So the overall trend is still really bearish. So I'm just going to say it one more time. If this thing is running pre-market and after hours, guys, please still be really careful tomorrow during the market hours because we might see a big falling off. If it runs a lot pre-market, the market opens, people take profits, and it dips back down. So just watch out for that. So ideally what we're going to see is we want to see higher highs. We want the next oversold area to be higher than $2.40. It doesn't have to be much higher. Any amount higher than 240 will make this chart look a lot better. If that happens, moving averages will all start curving up on these more intraday frames. Like I said, the 1 hour frame isn't that ugly. The longer frames are still showing that the overall trend is up. But on an intraday level, yeah, the overall trend today is really down and awful. So we need to see these intraday moving averages start legging up. We need to see better lows, higher lows, and we need to see higher oversold points on the relative strength index. So not much else to say on MGT today, guys. Hopefully no one lost too much money. And if you did not sell and you're still holding and you're at a loss, hopefully it gets back up. And just be careful. Really volatile stock. We've seen now that major selling off can happen, and it will happen. And this is probably not the end. Remember, this thing was 30 cents. It's still up almost 1,000%. There can still be a lot of selling off, and we might see even more lows. So just please be careful, guys. With that said, I wish you the best of luck, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.